Greetings everybody, welcome to Marvel Strike Force here on G4G. Today we're going ahead and logging in and taking a look at a special offer that is available in the store. As you look down on the left side of the screen, you will see below achievements and inbox, you'll see offers. Anytime you see that little exclamation point there, you definitely want to take a look at it. And right now the offer is for 45 shards for Yondu. We got about 13 hours left in this, and it's running about $30. So this is something that if you have not been working on Yondu before, you definitely want to take a look at. Whether or not it's worth $30, that's a little bit subject to opinion, but in this video I'll just go ahead and discuss Yondu with you guys, and you can kind of decide on your own weight for those shards over here. So I have him right now at tier 4, which unlocks his final skill, which is Centauri Hunter. On the turn he's got a 50% chance to copy a positive effect off of one enemy, apply the positive effect to himself. Ravager allies gain 5% damage, 50% chance to clear the positive effect from the enemy when he steals it is at level 2. And of course, to get that upgraded, you'll need 40 of the blue cube shards over there. So a little bit about Yondu over here. If you were to find him without spending money, he's in Heroes Assemble 1.9. And then he's in Nexus 6.9. Now Nexus 6.9 or any of the Nexus ones are rather tough. But he is available early on. So you might say the shards are worth a little less to you because he's such an easy farm. He's so available, you know, relatively early on. But the thing is, he's only available in the one mission. And then it jumps all the way to the Nexus, which is pretty tough. Now, some of what he's got, he has Jagged Edge, which is his skill 1, attacks a primary target for less than 100% damage and 50% piercing. It clears a positive effect from the target, which is pretty good. So when you're doing Arena and Blitz and you have those obnoxious taunting tanks up there, you can use his 1 to go ahead and purge the taunt off. I actually completely forgot that he did that. I think of my buff clearer as Captain America with the AoE shield. I didn't know he did it too. That certainly changes my opinion of him for Blitz and Arena, and actually makes me want to bump him up further, at least in my opinion of him. If I upgrade it to 4, 70% damage to the primary target, or plus 70, so that's a huge jump over there if you get him to tier 4. Boarding Party is, well, the next one that's available for him is actually YAKA Arrow. This one is available in his second round, and it's an AoE that hits everybody who isn't stealth for 100% damage. It's undodgeable, and it pierces. If you upgrade it to level 3, plus 30% undodgeable piercing. So he does some pretty strong damage. Now, one of the things that's really solid for him comes up in his third round, which is Boarding Party. So remember, first round, his skill 1 is up. Second round, skill 3 is up. Third round, Boarding Party is up. So when Boarding Party is up, he summons 1 to 2 Ravager allies at 140% normal damage, 30% of normal health. Everybody gets an offense up on the turn he summons it. If I upgrade this one to level 4, 35% Ravager ally damage, 10% max health to Ravager allies, which is good because right now summons are in kind of a shitty spot. Summons during the open and closed betas were able to live a lot longer. As a matter of fact, Kingpin's bodyguard ones that taunted were ridiculously obnoxious because you couldn't get to anybody. By the time you cleared 2 of those dudes who were taunting, Kingpin had the ability back up again, and it was like trying to get through a brick wall with a toothpick. Wasn't working out particularly well. Yondu, on the other hand, summons more offensive ones. He either summons the Boomer or the Stitcher. I can show you guys what he summoned. So one of them is the Boomer, who has the Plasma Blast, which is single target, and the Full Blast, which is the AoE. This one is, you know, it's relatively solid. I feel an actual Ravager Boomer out on the field does a little bit more damage than the summons that Yondu does, but there's nothing stopping you from bringing Yondu and a couple of Ravagers with you out onto the field, because this guy will get the benefit from Yondu. Now the other one is the Stitcher, and he's the one that I like to call the lifesaver. So here he is, he's got the Disintegrator, and he's got the Stitcher Kit. The Stitcher Kit heals the lowest health ally for 180 health plus 5% of this character's max health, then heals the lowest health ally for 180% plus. So he basically is healing 2 of your lowest people. You upgrade this one, which you can do right now, and it goes up to 650. Now this is not going to affect the summons, of course, but when you get a Stitcher mid-game or late game, if your arenas and blitzes go pretty quickly, having a Stitcher have that semi-AoE heal is actually really nice, especially if your healer is dead or you're not bringing one. Certainly lifesaver, but because the Boomer Stitcher thing is random, not something you ever want to count on. I'm relatively happy that I unlocked Night Nurse the other day, and then one click later unlocked the Blade Master. I do intend to work on bringing Night Nurse up. My jury's out as to whether Night Nurse will take over the Shield Medic for my arena and blitz duties and everything like that. So I'm just going to go ahead, because it's now after midnight, so we're looking at a new set of dailies. I will go ahead and do a blitz with you guys with Yondu in my team, and you can see what it's like to bring him along and kind of get an idea of how he works in combat. So my choices are a relatively high offensive team with no tanks, a fairly balanced team with Wolverine potentially with his health regen and Crossbones tanking, Handsork as the healer, and over here Night Nurse, Kingpin, no tanks other than potentially Kingpin's bodyguards. I'm going to go with the tankless one over here, and we're going to risk this one a little bit. Generally, Crossbones for me is a good tank to go against, because I know his pattern particularly well, and he doesn't start off taunting in the first round. It takes him around to do it. Excuse me, no, he does taunt in the first round, but I just beat the crap out of him before he does his blow up AoE. I had one do that to me in arena earlier, and it was not particularly pretty, but he was well protected, so I couldn't get to him in time. So these guys are running pure offense. We're not going to get the medic down before she heals, so I'm going to focus on Punisher and try to get to him before he does a lot of AoE. So there's Daredevil's huge opening hit. I don't have Captain America taunt in the first round, because I usually like for him to do damage. Same thing for the medic. I don't have the medic heal in the first round unless I'm really desperate. My first round is as offensive as I can get. And I try to set it up for the person to be almost dead so that Gamora gets her chains going. So I'm going to pop him one. Alright, so that was a good hit from my Black Widow. Punisher is not dead. So Gamora is going to kill him, get the attack up, and then we're going to see if we can chain a little bit. I'm going to go for Spider-Man because the stun move is going to be coming up soon. I missed him, but I did some pretty good splash damage. Now Cap's going to taunt. Totally negated that attack. Now we're going to heal because Cap and Gamora need it. Now, On this round, I tend to do the AoE. I'm going to get an attack from Daredevil, but it's going to be worth it. So his AoE was just about as solid as the enemy Punisher's was. And he didn't take a lot of damage there. Black Widow's going to stun Spider-Man so that we don't get his stun move. Daredevil is unfortunately still putting out a little bit of DPS there. Have Cap use his AoE before he dies. Ooh, don't. My sphincter clenches anytime I see Elektra doing that move because somebody usually dies. So here we have Yondu's final ability, which is Boarding Party. And it looks like we get 2 Stitchers, which is going to be a lifesaver at this point. We can probably get out of this without anybody dying now. So as you can see, he healed Cap and the medic. He heals Cap and the medic, and now they're both in the green, probably stopping them from losing their lives in this match. Cap will finish off the medic, which leaves just Elektra, so even if she goes stealth, she's gonna die. The Ravager lost 50% of his health, but he lived. That's pretty good. These Ravagers are frail, but if you happen to have somebody who can tank while they're up and give them a little bit of a life, it's always handy. I mean, if you get Ravager or Stitchers and you have them each heal and then they live to actually go on the offensive, that's always handy. So that's what Yondu looks like in a typical Blitz or Arena match. He's really good to bring to fights because of the AoE and then the potential to add AoE allies or the Stitcher healing allies when you're actually going. Plus, he is also useful in the villain campaign. So he brings good DPS to the villain campaign. He also brings support to the villain campaign. Mostly if you get lucky enough to do the Stitchers, your real support when you're doing villain work is going to be Hand Sork. She's your main healer when you're doing villain stuff, but absolutely Yondu is one of your higher DPS when you are doing villain campaigns. As a matter of fact, I'll go over to villain. We'll pick this Punisher one over here as an example. And you can see, so this is what a fairly standard villain team looks like. Elektra's available to it. The Ravager Boomer's available. And you got other hand mercenary characters, Hands, Ravagers, Winter Soldier, Nebula. So your tank is going to be Crossbones for the most part. Kingpin also represents being a tank as he summons 2 Taunters. And then your major DPS are typically Yondu, Bullseye, and Nebula. And Winter Soldier, a lot of people definitely do like him. I haven't built mine up. I feel some of the other ones that are getting love at the same time as Winter Soldier are getting higher marks than Bucky is, so I've just let him idle a little bit. Nebula is the one that seems to be coming up for me and getting a lot of love from based on what I've seen on comments and videos and everything. But so the end of it all is, do you find Yondu to be worth the $30? To me, I think this one, it's a yes in terms of his power and his skill and what he represents when he's on the field. The only thing that comes down to whether it's a yes or no for you is, do you have the capability of farming him? Everybody's going to have the ability to farm his first node. It's the second one that's an issue. And do you want to shortcut time? So that makes this one a little bit harder to answer than others. If he was not really available, say like Black Widow, and he was, 45 shards for $30? The answer is like a definite yes, because you're not going to be able to get him any other way. The fact that he is farmable, you just have to decide based on your time available. If you don't have time to get him and you really, really want him, or you constantly see him in Blitz and Arena and he messes your team up and you're like, damn it, I want this guy already so I can do the same thing. Yeah, then it's worth getting him. If you have the time to get him a little bit slower, or have been lucky to have him at higher shard counts already, then maybe he's not worth the $30. The rest of the things in the kit probably are not really worth the price tag either. I mean, 30 of the T1 abilities is nothing. That's like a nickel. Basic catalysts, one of them is useless. 450k gold is not too bad for somebody just starting out. L1 training models are garbage. L2s are a little bit better. So, in reality, you're paying really 90% of the $30 is dedicated to these shards and the fact that it removes a lot of farming time for you. Another way of calculating the cost is what would it take to constantly refresh his mission at a reasonable pace, and the power cores that are involved. So if we were to go ahead and do his mission 5 times and then put it on cooldown so that you had to use power cores to refresh it, that's how you can decide the worth. Is it going to shortcut his power core usage if you really want Yondu and you want him like yesterday? That's how you can figure out if it's worth it for you. As a whole, for his skills, for the character, the answer is yes. It's yes or no, depending upon your time available for it. So, quick little video for you guys. Just wanted to highlight that offer and let you guys know that it was out there, and that if you want a good Yondu, maybe now is the time to get it. If it's too expensive for you, and I certainly would back you up on that, skip the offer and just farm him like crazy and maybe use power cores to refresh his mission. See ya, everybody.